Hi, Dan. Austin Peters, writer and director of Skincare. Very excited to speak to you today.
Yeah,
Um, you
nice
know,
to meet you.
this film opens with an interesting line of text that says it is a fictional story inspired by true events. So I'm curious, what exactly inspired you to write this story?
Well, the writers brought me the script early on before we started collaborating on it. And I think that and were attracted to the same things about it that I was attracted to, which is that it was this sort of chaotic sunshine noir that involved things spiraling out of control and people getting in over their head. And it reminded us of a lot of the movies that we love and a lot of the sort of material that has inspired us. And we love the setting of Los Angeles, which is where I was born and raised. So I think all of those things really pulled me into it.
I love this idea of a sunshine noir, which is what you call this, how things that usually take place in this noir shadows are now happening in the harsh California sunlight. And I'm curious, why you felt that that sunlight served this story more than a more traditional noir feel.
Well, I think that the other thing that makes something sunshine noir to me is that it feels a little bit, the perspective is a little bit uncertain, in terms of like, you don't know if you can, it's a little bit of an unreliable narrator. You're not sure what you're hearing is true or if this is exactly reality. And it felt like all these dark things happening in the bright light of day was simultaneously more heightened and more real, like it sort of made them more matter of fact. And this is sort of what this movie is about a bunch of sort of somewhat regular people falling into a very dark underbelly of Los Angeles.
Yeah, and this movie is also about these sort of false facades that we present to the world, right? The illusion of success that you need to project in order to hopefully become successful eventually. So I'm curious, this is a very difficult business, show business. So what is the wildest thing that you've ever done to give off your own aura of success?
Geez, I don't know. That's hard. That's a hard thing to qualify so quickly. Like they say, fake it, fake. I think the craziest thing I ever did was I told people that I was a director and I started directing because no one said, "Hey, you should be a director." I said, "Oh, well, I am a director, and you, my friends, you guys are in a band. I'm going to direct your video." And they said,
There
"Have
you
you
go.
directed a video before?" And I said, "No, but I can. So let's try."
And now here you are, you're directing a full-on debut feature.
Yeah.
So I know we don't have a whole lot of time left, but I wanted to ask you about this cast, this incredible cast that you assembled. Elizabeth Banks is so incredible in the lead, but you also have Nathan Fillion, Michaela J. Rodriguez. This is reads like a lot of directors' dream cast list for their first feature. How did you get all these incredibly talented people?
It certainly is my dream list, and that's kind of how it started. Is it starts with the dream list, and at the top of that list was Elizabeth, and then once she's involved, everybody else sort of, I think, takes it a bit more seriously because she's not really messing around, and so and everyone just responded to the material, and we had a meeting, and I had to take a meeting with each of these people to sort of convince them to do this with me, who had never directed a movie before and or a narrative feature before, and I'm very grateful to all of them because they all are so incredible and brought so much to this movie. It just was an unbelievably fulfilling experience.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And, before we are coming up on the end of our time together, but before we leave, I wanted to ask you which of the products featured in this movie would you be most likely to recommend?
Um, I have to go with the moisturizer for sure. I think the
Mm,
moisturizer is the go-to. That's the one that if she gives you that one on the street, you are stoked because that's all time, morning, noon, and night. You can use the moisturizer.
Looking forward to seeing you and your well moisturized skin for your next feature.
Absolutely. So nice to talk to you. Thanks for talking
Great
to
talking
me.
to you, Austin. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody I can't see. Have a great rest of your day.
See you later.